Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Summertime. I am your host, Summer Hill, and today I'm here with artist D. Watkins. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you. Thank you for calling me artist.
Yeah, that's what you wanted to be called. How are you feeling?
I'm great. Weather's great. Summer's going really well.
Good.
Um, I'm working,
Yeah.
working harder than an ugly stripper. But I'm here though. You know what I mean? I'm here.
What has been your favorite part of the summer so far?
Um, my wife and I, we took our daughter to Nickelodeon in Mexico, and she just
I didn't know there was a Nickelodeon in
it's a
Mexico.
resort, and
Okay.
every room has its own swimming pool. So
Hmm.
she got a chance. She loves to swim.
That's so
She
cute.
loves the characters. We had a really good time.
That is so cute. How long were you all there?
We were there like a week,
Okay.
but we had to leave. Like we had to abruptly leave because I had to go to Chicago for the James Beard Awards. So
Speaking of,
thank you,
congratulations. How
thank
did
you.
that feel? So you just won for the viewers, you just won the 2024 James Beard Award. How does that feel?
You know, it's funny because it's like this, like really good things, um, like winning that award. They don't feel as good as you think they feel.
I know what you
But
mean.
then when really bad things happen, it's not the world doesn't end like you feel like
Mm.
it's gonna end. So it's like a balance. I know for me it was a big deal because there's only maybe like two people in Baltimore
Yeah.
that ever won it.
Oh
Actually
wow.
three, and I'm like the third person and like the only black person. So
Oh wow.
and I'm not a food writer. So it's like I'm definitely I'm thankful that they selected my work. I'm thankful that it resonated with people. Um, and yeah, it was like I'm happy, but it's what's the quote? The biggest threat to current the biggest threat to future success is current success. So when you
Mm-hmm.
something good happens,
Right.
you should just kind of shut the fuck up and keep working and not talk
Yeah.
about it all day.
I don't know. Like I'm kind of at a because like I feel like you deserve to celebrate those. You work so hard for those moments. You deserve to celebrate those moments,
How
right?
long? Well, how long do you celebrate? I guess is the
As long as
question.
you want. Like I just feel like we put all this work in and we're always heads down, and so that means when the moment actually gets here, we're not really like in it because we're thinking about, like you said, what's next, and it's like, well, what am I doing all this for if it's not to be celebrated?
Or maybe you can offer some tips on I can work on my celebrate because I
Mhm.
don't think I have like a good like a celebratory type of I need to figure it out a little more.
Yeah, I am a huge celebrator of life and of self. Like my birthday is the biggest holiday of the whole year because I just feel like it
When's your
deserves to be
birthday?
June 5th.
All right,
When's
happy
yours?
happy belated.
Thank you.
February 10th.
Okay, okay. So, but men are kind of like that. It seems like they don't really celebrate themselves. But we're gonna get
The new
into.
men do. The new men do. The younger
Mm,
guys do. I feel like us older guys are just like, we put on a flannel shirt and then we go chop it up.
right.
But I feel like the younger guys like they turn up a little bit more for their birthdays.
Yeah, that's true. So, tell us the piece of work that you won the James Beard Award for.
So it's an essay that I wrote about the wave of sobriety and the change in the conversation around mocktails, which
Mm,
a lot of people prefer the term zero proof now or spirit free. So I talked about my own journey, alcoholism, some of the things I've been through. I started drinking when I was really young, too young, and
why
the
do you think that was? Why'd you start drinking so young?
the coolest kids in my neighborhood. This guy we all used to look up to. If he was wearing his Coogee sweater a certain way, we was gonna wear
Mm,
it that way. If he didn't tie up his Air Force Ones or tie up his New Balance, then we weren't gonna tie ours up. Um, if he hung in the hallway with a bottle of E and J, then we were gonna hang in the hallway too. So as a little kid, you get these figures in front of you, and they're not like the rappers, and they're not like the ball players. These are people with
Right.
pockets full of money that you can actually touch and see
Right.
who are around. And and they sometimes they give you lessons that save you, and sometimes they give you lessons that aren't so good for you. So I
Hmm.
was just being a kid and a follower. So I wrote about that, but I think one of the stronger points of the essay was my cousin Maja was guiding me through this journey, and she ended up committing suicide
Oh my.
um, last year. So
Oh
it
my
was, yeah, it was
goodness.
like she was a very popular, she's a well-known bartender
Mm.
um, in Baltimore. She worked at all the top restaurants. She developed menus, bar menus for restaurants that have been nominated for all kinds of awards. But she had a battle with depression, and
Mm.
unfortunately, depression won.
But you know what? I actually wouldn't phrase it like that. I just got back from a funeral yesterday. My cousin passed away from cancer.
Sorry to hear that.
And what she said, it really moved me. She said, if I die, then so does the cancer. So
Mm.
maybe in your cousin's case, if I die, then so does depression. So I wouldn't say it won because it's not here anymore.
No, that's a great way to look at
Isn't
it.
that oh my God, it touched me so bad. But speaking of sobriety, I've had a sober 2024. Like I decided this year, no, no nothing, no nothing. So I want to know what motivated you and what motivates you still on this journey.
Oh, I'm not sober.
Oh, you're not anymore.
I was sober. I was sober. I
How
was I
long?
was sober. Some months. Some
Okay.
months.
Okay.
The clarity was good for me,
Mm,
and moderation um has been has become key for me.
okay.
No, I'm not gonna drink a bunch of cocktails at a function.
Right.
I'm probably not gonna drink any, but I'll have a glass of wine.
Mm,
If people are really drunk and out of control, I'll just leave.
got to go.
Um, not the same person I was before I started this journey, but I also understand what I need and what I like and what's good for me than the people that care about me. So
Okay.
I think health was a motivation. I think how I communicate definitely was a motivation. Um, I think when drunk, we all, we can be like,
Liquid courage.
yeah, and we can be too much.
Hmm.
So when I was sober, I got a chance to not just take inventory on myself, but I got a chance to look at some of the people around, and I'm like,
Mm.
damn, like if we weren't drinking, we probably wouldn't be friends because
That
y'all fucking annoying.
that there's so many people that I have around me that I'm like, we were only friends because we had this in common. Like we can go out and get some drinks. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And now it's like I don't necessarily need to be your friend anymore.
Yeah, you can go out and you can have a conversation. You can have a good dinner. That's another thing. Like food, I learned so much from not drinking. Like some of my
Mm.
favorite restaurants weren't that good.
Mm.
The
It was
drinks were
just
really
good.
good,
Right, right,
so
right.
it enhanced the food.
Okay.
Some of the people I thought were really intelligent and interesting weren't that interesting.
Mm.
And not drinking makes so many people uncomfortable. And I
Yes.
didn't know that at first. Like so I put this in the essay, but this little chick, man, this little lady, little woman with a big ass head on, she's like Cameron and shit. She has big ass snapback on. She's like this nigga ordered a mocktail. What the fuck? Like it blew her whole night, and I'm like, yo, shut up. Like I'm chilling because it was I was getting this award for being an educator, right? I
Hmm.
was getting like a local award, and I went to go pick up my plaque at this restaurant, and I had to give a little speech, but with the plaque comes like six bottle girls with and then a
Oh.
big ass bottle of Don Julio,
Mm-hmm.
and a big tall brown box. I don't know which one that is, but I know it's like a nice one. And it's a celebration, and people are clapping, and they coming out with shots, and then like I said, they gifted me this big bottle, this huge presentation, and I'm not. I just got back from Paris, and I didn't want and I was chilling. I was chilling in Paris. So I didn't want people I didn't want the conversation to be about me and alcohol. I wanted to
Mm-hmm.
get my little award, get my little
Yeah.
speech, and get back home. So I slide to the bar, and I'm just like, yo, make me like a little whatever,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And the woman, I don't even know if I know her like that, but she knew me, and she screamed my name loud enough. Everybody in the whole block heard it, and she was like, yo, what? So then I end up drinking. You know what I mean? And I
No.
got home, you know what I'm saying? And
She pressured you?
she won that night.
Dang.
She won that night.
Oh, I hate that for you. Wait, so
My sobriety died with her. No,
oh, that
that's
was
not what. No,
was that the day?
no, that's not the day.
Okay. So what? So how did you feel when you first drank again? Like the after you had done your months, how did you feel?
Um, well, it's funny because it's like over the years you build up this super strong tolerance,
Hmm.
and then if you stop, the liver is like it's like the most amazing organ in our bodies.
Yeah.
It's the only one that actually repairs itself.
Mm.
If you leave your liver alone, you stop fucking with it, it's gonna fix itself,
Mm.
right? So, my liver is on a journey of repairing itself. So, when I had that first sip, it was too much.
Mm.
Um,
Like as far as taste, like it was nasty.
Not the taste, but just like I had a sip and I was instantly had like a slight buzz.
Really?
And I would say I was more of a social alcoholic
Hmm.
than like, I'm not gonna sit in the house with a fifth
Right,
and
right.
watch the
Wake up in the
game
morning. Right.
and like get mad at LeBron. You know what I mean? Like yelling at KD, like a bum with a bottle of Hennessy and an attitude problem. Nah,
Hmm.
you know, um, but my life is also very social. I speak a lot. I travel a lot. People expect me to be places. I do a lot of events and functions as a writer, as an artist, as a person who mentors. So, any given week, I mean, I'm gone a significant amount of time throughout the year, and then I have something to do, a couple of times a week. So I'm always like around. So like, I think it tricks you. You can be tricked into thinking you're not consuming as much as you are
Mm-hmm.
if you're, and I guess
Always moving and
it kind
distracted.
of goes back to what you said about celebrating. It's like maybe I don't celebrate as much because um, I'm doing something celebratory every 2 days.
That's
you
true.
know,
That's
when
true.
you're an artist and you're in the community of artists, and then I work in television as well. So it's like people are always doing stuff in TV, and it's always like, oh, grab a drink, meet for a drink,
Mm-hmm.
talk over a drink, do the
Mm-hmm.
deal over a drink, meet for a drink, and then it's like, and then with food too. Like sometimes, I might have to go to, it's times where I've had to go to like 2 or 3 dinners in one night. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like, trying to the good place I'll eat. The other places a salad. If you don't eat, sometimes people get offended. They look at you like an asshole.
Right.
Um,
But what I have found since I stopped drinking is that like we use liquor as like a reward. Like I'm going to celebrate with this. Like this is what when I get done with this, I'm going to go get me a
mhm,
drink. And I
mhm.
had to like switch like how I looked at liquor cuz it's really poison. Like
It's poison.
if we're being for real, it's poison. So I'm taking this year to like gain some clarity and see how I feel after the year. And then did you get any fruits from like your labor of like not drinking?
I mean, I was kind of annoying when I was sober. I'll say
Mm.
that. And annoying, like I used to like, I like to pick on people and tease people. So I would go around my friends and be like, ew, you niggas drink.
Right.
Like I be drink, kind of like a person who been vegan for like 2
Right,
days.
right, right.
They've been vegan for
Y'all
2 days.
eating meat?
Oh, flesh, it's making it's aching. I'm
That's
aching to the
swine.
core.
Right.
But no, I think the clarity piece.
Okay.
I go days without drinking now, and it's all good.
Okay,
And like I
good.
said, socially a glass of wine sometimes with dinner, but it's always in moderation. It's never bottles on bottles. It's
Mm-hmm.
never and then the hard liquor is like it's rare.
Mm. Okay. Well, congratulations to you
Thank
on
you.
the award and on your sobriety for however long it lasts and whatever
Mhm.
clarity you've gained from it. So you're originally from Baltimore.
Yeah,
How do you think Baltimore has contributed to who you are today?
that's a great question.
Thank you.
Um, I think because Baltimore is a tough love city. Like
Mm.
they don't love you when you want to come up. They don't love you when you're grinding. They don't love you when you're like out in the world trying to figure it out. They love you after you make it in other places. Like I tell people this all the time. I
Mm.
published in New York Times before I published in the Baltimore Sun and the
Really?
city paper.
No
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, I couldn't crack those local publications,
Mm,
but I had motion and some of the bigger one of the big America's newspaper. So it's like and I'm thankful for that because when you give people things, when you love people too quick, when you instantly reward them, then they don't really understand what it takes to get there.
mm.
They don't understand the work. They don't understand how to value those friendships, those relationships, and that support. So I think Baltimore's made me very tough in that way. And then also it helped me have you need thick skin to be in the art world. Um,
True.
they tell beautiful people that they're ugly all of the time.
Right.
They take brilliant people, and I'm talking the art world, takes brilliant people and destroys them. You need
Mm-hmm.
really, really tough skin. And I think people have been poking fun at my city and the way we talk and how we move and some of the problems we have with leadership and crime since I was a small child. So it helped me develop like a sense of self worth, and it helped me understand that any and everything that I'll get, I'll have to earn it, and I'm great with that.
Absolutely. So does Baltimore love you now?
Oh yeah, they love
Okay,
me.
good.
Yeah, they love me a lot.
Good. So question. So I watched The Wire in 2020 and I was just blew away of how like
Like the pandemic,
yeah.
like a
It
pandemic
was right
vanished.
before. It was right
Right
before the
before.
pandemic. I was living in Miami and somebody had told me to watch it and I was like, okay, I'll check it out. And
Hmm.
I loved it because I thought it was such a great depiction of like Black America, not just Baltimore. Do you think that The Wire depicted Baltimore very well?
Yeah, I mean, I'm biased. I love this show. Like, it's a whole generation of people who are like. So when you from Baltimore and you go places like, I mean, Germany, South Africa, all these different
Mm-hmm.
places, like, first thing they say is like, The Wire.
Right.
Like, my homie had went to he went somewhere in Europe, but he met some dudes from South Africa, and in their slang, when they feeling like tough and gangster, they like, I'm on my Marlow, I'm on my Marlow.
Mm. Oh,
Um,
wow.
straight up from the Wire. So like it has
That's
that
pretty cool.
it has that type of shout out
Impact.
to the real Marlow. Marlow, he just came home. But um it it had that kind of so it's a powerful show, but
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of people who like, they like to say, we're more than a wire, we're more than a wire. And I don't think the wire was about one individual person or personality. There was a street perspective, but then there was a police perspective, but then you had the perspective of children, but then you had the
Mm-hmm.
perspective of people in politics, you had the perspective of people at the newspaper, so and the doc. So you had all of these different worlds and how they, what race does in the intersection of all of these different realities. So I think it was a great representation of right, not just Baltimore, but urban America in general for sure.
So, in what way can you tell the people in what way you contributed to The Wire?
It's not at all. So I didn't watch The Wire until it was like over because
Mm.
I was outside. I wasn't really in the TV like that. I was in the world. So when the show finally came to me, it blew my mind because I couldn't believe they shot all of this in my city. And I wasn't an artist, I wasn't a writer, but I wanted to be a part of it. And I missed that opportunity because I was doing the wrong stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, by wrong stuff, I mean I was a criminal.
Uh-oh.
So when I became a writer, when I published my first essay that had traction, the creator of the Wire, David Simon, he reached out to me. He was like, "I know these voices, I know these people. If you ever want to work in TV, you call me." So you tell me to get with you, I'm gonna get with you. The email came in at like 12. I've hit his phone line at like 12:02. You know what I'm saying?
Period.
Like, yo, of course I want to work in
Right.
television. Like, and he didn't have any shows for me at the time, but he would send me on these little missions. So he sent me over to Ferguson. He sent me down Ferguson with an actor from The Wire.
Ferguson, Missouri.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm from St. Louis.
Okay, word. So he sent me down there with an actor from The Wire who was going to play Mike Brown.
Mm.
So I met Mike Brown Sr.
Mm.
and got a chance to spend some time with him, learn his whole story, um, learn a lot of things about his son that never made it to the media.
Mm.
and I wrote the treatment for that film, and that project didn't work right. So like a lot of times, it's kind of what I said earlier. Was something that this was big for me. This is Peabody, Emmy Award winning, MacArthur Genius Grant television producer sending me on a mission. Big for me. I'm doing my career. I'm wet behind the ears. I don't know what's up. And I'm thinking it's gonna go. And I don't know that most TV and film projects get killed. I don't know that. So it didn't crush me, but it was good for me. Then he set me up with another actor from the show who wanted to do the show. And this actor taught me how to say no. Taught me that no is a love word. Because it was the corniest shit I ever read or saw in my life. And it made no sense. It made no sense. It was like, yo, he's like a super murderous drug dealer, but he loves the harmonica. And I'm just like, all right, dog. Like, I'm like, yo, right. So I'm reading it, and he already had a script, and he had like these weird sex scenes, and I'm like, yeah, freaky ass nigga, stay ass inside. So I'm like, nah, bro, I'm good on this. This ain't for me. Like, I'm gonna go out here, I'm gonna go put these books out. But years later, I wrote an article about a police officer that was harassing my big homies. Then he was harassing me. Then he was harassing the little homies. So I wrote and I went to everybody, and I documented what this cop did to these people. And that cop ended up getting indicted.
Oh wow.
They took him off the street. So when I did that, my name was buzzing around HBO, and he was like, "Oh wait, he's the guy I've been trying to get with HBO for years." Then he bring me in to a writer's room, and we worked on a show called "When You're on the City," and I wrote an episode for that.
Episode 3, right?
Yeah, episode 3. But while I was working on this, HBO hit me up, and it was like, "Yo, we doing this big 25-year retrospective of The Wire. We want you to write the book. Are you up for it?" And I was like, well, I'm like anybody else when it's like a party. I'm like, well, shit. Well, who's gonna be there? You know what I mean? So yeah. So
what all did it take to go into writing this book? I mean, let me show. It's filled with pictures, like.
It's pictures, it's storylines that didn't make it. It's updates and insight from like certain characters. Like we got a lot going on. We work really hard. We work really hard at it.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, we work really hard at it.
This is really, really well done. Okay, so when you did We Own This City, that was based in Baltimore as well, right?
Yeah, so one of the cops in the actual episode was the cop who harassed me as a child. So it was not just a full circle moment for me. And this is what I want people to know about that show. A lot of the black dudes that you see in that show are people who actually had to go head to toe with them cops. These are people who've been robbed, people who've been had their lives messed up, people who have been extorted, people who have been forced to sell drugs. And we were able to get them paid to come on set, to get on camera, in front of the camera or behind the camera, and actually tell their own stories and take control of their own narrative, and even help some of them get their starts to their careers in Hollywood.
Wow. So how did that impact you? Because that's definitely worth celebrating.
I've been going to schools. I've been going to schools, and I've been giving away books, and I've been like mentoring other writers, and I've been like trying my best. I go to me and my brother Marvin Bing, we took Beanie Siegel into a jail in Baltimore like 2 weeks ago. So it's like I've always been lucky enough to and just for people watching, like Beans is like, to the people that was locked up, it was like, somebody that played a huge part of their life coming to see them. You know what I mean? Like that would hit way different than like, and this is like no disrespect to like somebody that's really famous now, like Little Yachty or somebody. These are dudes that have been sitting for 15, 20 years. And when they went to jail, the hottest thing was Rockefeller. So if Beanie Siegel's coming to see you, it was like a big deal. So I've always been fortunate enough to give books to schools. I gave a lot of books to schools and did a lot of workshops in the DC area, not just Baltimore. But this was a different level because of the tens and thousands of books that I've given away or helped facilitate the giveaway, and all the workshops I taught. this was a $90 million budget
Oh my
where we hired
goodness.
where we hired over 5,000 people from the Baltimore area. Many of them weren't working during the pandemic. Many of them were the victims that we were actually writing about. Normally, you see
Mhm.
your story and you be like, "Yo, these people are fucking up my story."
Right. This.
Nah, they was you see the story and it's like, "Yo, this is me playing what happened to me," right? So we hired these people over the pandemic. A lot of them weren't working. And then a lot of them, this is like the part that I really want people to pay attention to. A lot of these people who worked on this show, We Own the City, they got union jobs, meaning that they left Me Own the City and they went to Lady in the Lake, or they went to the Lioness, or they went to something in Atlanta, or they went to something to LA. So they in Baltimore. People was like, I mean, I remember sitting in the trailer. Um, I'm sitting in the well, not I'm sitting in the parking lot about to get check in to go to my trailer. So I'm sitting outside like rolling a blunt, about to go to work, and um I see this girl and she's like, "What you doing here?" And I'm like, "Nothing, just chilling." And she was like, "I'm trying to find out what all these trailers is. I'm trying to get a job. I'm trying to see what's up with this." So I'm like, "Shorty, go right there and tell him I told you go over there." She go right over there. She get a job as a PA. Then she get bumped up to working in props. Career, life
Wow.
changing. And this is the kind of stuff we can do for kids, for not just kids, but for Black people in our city. If there was a steady television show in Baltimore, a steady
Hmm.
television show in DC. Imagine a 5-year television show coming to DC, and you got kids from schools like Dunbar, or like Bilal. You know what I'm saying? Like, is it Baloo or Bilal?
Bilal.
Bilal,
Bilal. Baloo.
Baloo.
I'm not
Oh,
from DC.
oh, my fault. We got kids, from schools like Baloo, or you know what I mean, able to Duke Ellington and all that, able
Mhm.
to leave school, right? And I'm not even and Duke Ellington's an art school, so I'm mainly talking about schools that aren't art schools. But you
Banneker.
know what I'm saying? Leave school, come on set, learn a skill, learn a trade, electricians, plumbers, again, people who work in props, grips, camera people, learn a skill and then ride that for the rest of their life. We can do that if we had industry here.
Yeah.
As far as
And
Maryland go, we got to get, I need to set up that meeting with West, but we need to get that
yeah.
tax credits back because Georgia get like $10 billion a year.
Really.
Georgia get a $10 billion tax cut a year, and this is why so many people are filming in Atlanta and the surrounding areas.
And that's what like I feel like the kids need something to do, something to take their mind, a project to work on, something to take their mind off whatever they have going on, and a skill to learn. Because after school they're just bored and don't have nothing else to do. So of course they are participating in activities that are not beneficial.
And it does good. Like after the show was over, I mean, we blew through the money. People blow through. I mean, it's so easy to blow through money when you're doing the show. But we had a really, really, really good EP slash line producer that's real. Like she knows her work when it comes to
Mm.
budgetary things. So she had money left over, and guess what she did with some of the money left over? She gave $250,000 to the Black Mental Health Alliance, who
Oh,
literally worked on set counseling people and dealing with the trauma that they experience from dealing with the actual police officers we made the show
yeah.
about. So this like these
Yeah.
big full circle moments, and we can do that with film.
And
We
I'm
can
sure
do it.
that helped heal like the inner child of whenever that situation happened. Like not only am I healing from right now, but I can go back and heal from that moment.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Some people really need that, and
That's
a lot of
powerful.
people got it.
That's good. So, okay, so you're obviously a really well-known and respected writer. What does your like process and preparing look like before you write either a book or article that touches people?
I don't have a process. I just sit down and do it.
Oh, you
I think sometimes, for me anyway, um, can be very easy. I'm very easily distracted.
mm,
I'm the best at finding distractions. I'm the best at like, you know, this tennis shoe is right here and it's not perfectly aligned with that shoe. So let me just do that before I start.
mhm.
Let me just drink a little more water before I
Mhm, you're
start.
right.
Let me just go and like brush my teeth one more time. You
Mhm.
know, I didn't get that left quadrant good enough. Let me go get that before I start. So I don't burn a candle. I don't light incense. I don't have like a special, I don't speak to the higher power. I don't do nothing. I just crack my laptop open whenever I can and I do the pages. A long time ago, I told this dude that I wanted to be a writer, right? This older guy, street dude. And I was like, man, what you want to do? I said, I want to write. He said, you want to be a writer? I said, yeah. He said, you know what you got to do? I said, what? He said, sit your ass down and write.
Mm.
The end. 8 books later. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
8 books later. I
What
set
our
my
parents try
set
to tell
my
us when we were younger.
8 books, couple shows, over 800 articles. Sit your
Wow.
ass down and write. That's it.
So there's no nothing you do like mentally to say like, okay, let me not get distracted right now. Let me just lock in. Like, how do you lock in?
I don't. I'm free. Like I create. I can't, I don't, I never had the luxury of fully locking in.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know if I want to lock in with some of my thoughts. Like,
Yeah, that's true.
I need a little bit of space
Right.
from some of the stuff. I think I might be a head case. I need, I
That's
need,
a good
I need a
point.
little bit of space, like people had these conversations about like, you know, mushrooms and ayahuasca and
Peyote.
deep therapy sessions
Mhm.
and like healing. And I'm not against it, but you know, I feel good right here. I don't,
Okay, so you don't need all that. So then what was the inspiration behind Black Boy Smile?
unlearning toxic, my own toxic behavior. I had a real serious problem when I was a boy. I had a serious problem when I was a young man.
Mm-hmm.
Um, um, I had a spirit that that I needed to get like off of me if I ever wanted to be the person who I feel like I have the potential of being. And when I say a spirit, I mean like how like in conflict you like you chill out, you lay back. If it doesn't happen on site, then like it's over.
Mm-hmm.
If I felt wronged by somebody, I would like be praying to God that we find these niggas. You know what I'm
Really?
saying?
Uh-huh.
Like
So it
really
was like
like
vengeance. It was a spirit of
yeah.
vengeance.
It was hyper everything. It was
Mm-hmm.
hyper capitalistic. It was hyper masculine. It was hyper violent. It was all of the traits that I wouldn't want my child um to be exposed to. And mind you, she's gonna know the real world. But if I wanted to be um a good father, if I wanted to be a good husband, if I wanted to be a good friend, a good person in general, then I had to try my best to attack these things. And I started the book with the flawed masculinity I was taught as a child. And
Did you start the book having already released that spirit, or this was your process of releasing that spirit?
I think I'm still on the journey of it
Okay.
because I still find myself, being angry at things that I probably shouldn't necessarily be angry at. I still find myself, like 20 people run in this house right now, you know, baseball bats, and when they start to beat you guys up, like I'm gonna lose it. I'm gonna fight for you. I'm gonna fight for everyone in the room. I probably won't win, but like I guess that's a bad example because it's like 3 of us in here and 20. The numbers are off, but you know, if if someone disrespects my wife or my child, you know, I'm probably going to be eating jail food for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't be like that. I shouldn't, but I'm working on it, and I
What do you
recognize
think it
that.
should be like?
I
Let it roll
think,
off your back, turn the other cheek like Jesus?
I mean, in a way, being, like a godly figure is a lot of pressure, but I
Mm-hmm.
do think like there should be a space for me to protect my family without hurting other people. Um, because I've hurt people in the worst ways, and I never necessarily felt great about it or
But
better about it.
yeah, okay, so how does that impact you now? The hurting people.
I think you mean like from the past?
Mm-hmm.
It happened. Like I can't change it. I've tried to make amends with people who I can make amends with, but it happened, and you got at some point you gotta let it go. You know, even people who hurt me, like it's people who hurt me really bad. Like it's people who, I've had to be face to face with people who've killed people that I love.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Do you
Like,
forgive?
and I just, I had to let it go. I had to let it go.
So, how much of this do you think stems? I read your story, What I Lost When I Was Nine.
Hmm.
How much of it do you think stems from that situation where we can give the listeners some context, but you were sexually assaulted by your camp counselor, right?
Yeah.
And how old was she?
She was, I would imagine she was in her early 20s.
Okay. And thank you for speaking out on that because there's so many men or boys that this happens to and they're like, I'm not mad at it. Like, so, but that's terrible.
I mean, that was my that was my response when it came time
I
for me to
bet.
tell, who went to the girls' cabin and what happened, right? So it was I don't even know if I was taught that at that particular time, but I had to be taught that because that was almost like a knee jerk reaction.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and for context, I went to this camp and and I love my mother. I love my mother so much. I love her so much. That's my heart. But if you're gonna send your kid away for like 2 weeks for like $10, it's probably not the best idea. And
Right.
anybody who knows anything about Baltimore, is that you know, East Side people, we get along with West Side people, and we get along with people from Cherry Hill and all that, South Baltimore. But however, there's hard lines because of how the city was split up. So like the culture is just a little different. So this is like the late '80s, early '90s. So I go to this camp. I'm the only East Baltimore kid, and all these West Baltimore kids, and I'm thinking my cousins are coming into camp. So instead of me staying with the kids that were like 8, 9 years old, I'm staying with the kids that are like 13 and all that, like older kids.
Mm-hmm.
And when I told them where I was from, it was like, oh man, we not fucking with you, Lower East Side. And it was cool. But then the counselor, it wasn't just me, it was some kids from West Baltimore too. They didn't feed us. So
They didn't feed y'all?
no, they didn't feed us. No, this is like the longer version. That was an excerpt we published in Esquire.
Yeah.
But the longer version is in this book. So they didn't feed us.
And Black Boy Smile.
And Black Boy Smile.
Okay.
So they didn't feed us. And I would I would be eating like dry cereal with no water, no milk. So it would like paste up in my mouth. It was, like cardboard. But whatever. I was a kid. I was surviving. But then at night they started making us fight. So the kid they made me fight, he was a cool kid. I liked him. But he wasn't like me. Like he wasn't aggressive like me. We were the same age, but I was bigger. I had like longer arms. And I beat his ass. I beat him down bad. But the difference is that he had his big cousins in the cabin. So his cousin took my head and just rammed that shit through the floor. Bow, 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 right? Fucked me all up, right? So the counselor was so happy that I didn't tell, that I didn't I fought back, cleaned my own scars up, whatever. So, he gave me some chicken nuggets, gave me a chocolate milk, said I can roll with the big boys tonight. And he took us all, everybody walked from the boys' side of the camp to the girls' side of the camp. At the girls' side of the camp, he put me in the room with a girl. And it's funny because it's like when you have
with a woman.
With a woman.
With a 20-something-year-old woman.
With a woman. And it's funny because like when you relive these experiences, you remember the weirdest shit. So it's
weirdest
like
details.
I just remember that. Just remember that she stunk. You know what I'm saying? I remember that she stunk. I remember that she stunk. And I just remember that like she just kept grabbing the back of my head and squeezing the back of my head, like squeezing the back of my head real hard, right? And then I was just like, and then that feeling of like why me? And am I gonna get in trouble if I tell my mother? Am I gonna get in trouble?
Did you ever tell her?
Nah, I never told my mom until this came out.
Wow.
Am I gonna get in trouble if I tell my dad? Who do I talk to? What do I do? And I'm out this camp, and you can't call home. You can't talk to your family members. You can't talk to nobody. You can just write. And my tribe had become the dude who beat the shit out of me, the dude who I beat up. The kids who didn't accept me at first until, I became one of them in a way. And now I'm one of them. And the rest of the week was smooth. I didn't go back to the girls' cabin, but I went swimming. I learned how to swim. I shot a bow and arrow. I fucking learned. I caught like crayfish. Some people call them crayfish. Some call them crawfish. But I caught them, and like the ladies in the kitchen were frying for me. Like I
Mm,
ended up, it ended up being what my mother probably thought it was going to be from the jump. But I
right.
had to go through that bullshit to get there. And I think that mentality when I came home, I was like way more aggressive than anybody that was like 9 and 10 years old, like in my age group. So it's like if they're like like oh, I think I want to, I want to kiss the girl, you know, whatever, Keisha, Aisha, or whatever, right? And I'm like, like, yeah, I'm gonna be fucking Aisha. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? Like,
mhm,
and I'm like wild aggressive as a
mhm.
kid that's really young. And I definitely think that being applauded for going in a room with that woman, coming home with my chest poked out as if like
Right.
I'm more of a man, and I'm not just a boy because I was a boy. And then participating in conversations had definitely set a lot of my early relationships off in a very negative way
I'm
because you're
sure.
taught to be I felt like a thing. So if you feel like a thing, then you start to treat people like they're things and it becomes a cycle. So at some point you have to pull back. And I think and this is I think every guy says this, so don't run me out of here. But I
Uh-oh.
feel like if you took a survey of my ex-lovers, girlfriends, whatever, I feel like the majority of them would say I wasn't the worst guy in the world.
Yeah, every guy does say
I
that.
think they would say that
Every guy says that.
this is what I think they would say. I think they would say that there's an emotional intelligence that he could not quite grasp, but his heart was in the right place.
Mm. Do you think you've grasped it by now?
Oh, I think I came a long way, but I think I have a long way to go.
What does your daughter teach you about emotional intelligence and your wife?
So my wife is the best at ending conflict.
Mm,
I tend to carry things, and she teaches me not to carry things. And she's right because some of the things I carry, they just don't matter.
right.
They don't matter. It's like the rule of five. You ever heard of the rule of five?
Mm-mm.
If it won't affect you for the next five
Okay, yeah, I
years,
have.
then don't think about that shit for more than 5 minutes. And
Mm-hmm.
I've learned that from her. I think my daughter taught me patience, fear, and
What do you mean fear?
so when you let these kids out into the world, it's terrifying.
I
Yo,
bet.
everybody,
Whew,
yo,
I
yo,
bet.
and then this is again, these are things that I would never sit here and try to play like I'm the smartest person in the world because I'm not. But I will post a lot of stuff with my daughter on social media, so a lot of people in the city know her. So
Right.
my wife is out at dinner, and a 40-year-old man is like, "Oh, what up, Cross?" Her name's Cross. "Oh, what up, Cross? How you doing, Cross?" And it's like, yo, you a 40-year-old man with a fucking fedora on, nigga. Why you speaking to my kid? You know what I mean? And it's like, I'm not thinking that you're not thinking. So I stopped. I said, you know what? I'm not posting my kid on nothing no more. But this what happened. I did a speech for Blue Cross Blue Shield. And there was maybe like something crazy, like 200 whatever people there and a bunch of community members and a bunch of food and all kinds of shit. They gave me like a little trophy. People like to give you little trophies and shit. I got a lot of little trophies. So I'm leaving out, and this lady's like, she's like, Mr. Watkins, I gotta talk to you. And I'm like, okay, lady, what's up? And she was like, I just want to thank you. And I was like, you're welcome. And she was like, well, you what I'm thanking you for? I said, I don't know. You the one that said it. And she said, I like how you put your daughter, how you play with your daughter and post your daughter and do stuff with your daughter with the swimming and the music and the lessons on the internet. I love that because I use that with the young men who are new fathers
Mm,
in the neighborhoods to show them how it's cool to be a dad, how it's cool to engage your children, how it's cool to get them to try things like all types of food, um, playing different instruments, the ballet class, the all of the 10,000 extracurricular activities that my daughter does.
Mhm.
And she uses that and it helps and it's impactful and it means something. And I said, damn, you just never really know
Right.
who's paying attention and what it looks like. So she has been a person that has helped me a lot with my patience. She's helping me understand some of the fears that I have um in dealing with her in her journey. Um, and then on top of all of that, she's introducing me to a different type of joy, something that doesn't it's not attached to an award, it's
Mhm.
not attached to some Nikes. You know what I'm saying? It's a different type of joy that comes from pulling up for your people, being there for your people, sometimes kicking back and just not doing shit with your
Yeah.
people. And
Yeah.
I'm very blessed and thankful for that.
Oh, that's so special. I mean, before we move on from the last topic, I just want to say I'm sorry that happened to you because that's awful. Like that should not happen to any young person, period. So I'm sorry that that happened to you.
Yeah, it's kind of gross, but
It's
I mean,
awful. It's
yeah, I'm here. Yeah,
disgusting.
I'm here.
And it happens too often.
You know what's
Mm.
crazy?
What?
That, and I'm glad you bring this up. So this is your idea. This is your thought, not mine. But a lot of times, if a man is the victim, and the person who puts that man in a situation is a woman, a lot of us we feel like society doesn't really care.
Hmm.
So sometimes the I was doing my thing, I had hoes or whatever. It's almost like it's a coping mechanism to deal with the
Exactly.
fact that people don't really care.
Yeah. And I also think it's like because in that situation, the way I read it, the way I interpreted it, you seemed powerless or you felt powerless. So maybe, and this is just me connecting some dots, and I could be assuming wrong, but throughout your life, you have all these situations where you're overreacting because now you have the power. And so maybe that is your way of giving the power back to yourself.
I don't know if it's attached to that one situation. I'm definitely sure some of the dots you connected are absolutely right, but I also feel like when you grow up in the '90s, semi-automatic era, Baltimore City, um, you was gonna eat or be
Hmm.
eating. I guess that's the wrong. I guess that's the wrong way for me to say
Doggy
it.
dog. No, I feel
It
you.
was So I think it was more or less like like we had to wake up every day. And I hate to put it like this because I had a lot of joy growing up. Like I had a
Yeah,
lot of joy. We
certainly.
rode dirt bikes. We ate frozen cups. We had innocent little girlfriends and like we went to Six Flags, you know what I'm saying? Like
Hmm.
we had joy, but it was something about, my grandmother prayed for me every day. When my mom started going to church, she prayed for me every day. And all of them prayers that were excellent, but I still, and they're probably why I'm here, but I still
Hmm.
had to go outside.
Hmm.
And when you went outside, you had to be outside. And it's not like now when you can be like, you know what I'm saying, handsome and homeless and like, and like
Right, go viral.
sleep on, this beautiful woman's couch. And then that one, you can't go, the homeless sexual thing. I grew up in a time where the girls was comparing you to Jay-Z. You know what I'm saying? It
Mm.
was like, why your Range Rover not like that? And
Uh,
it's like, yo, lady, I'm 16. Like, let me get active. So
mhm.
we had to go outside and I think I started my first business after hustling was the business of being in business. So I
Mhm.
started with real estate. I started with the liquor store. I started with running a makeshift casino out my liquor store. Like I started
Oh
with
wow.
I started with an everything's aggressive. Everything was like, it was hyper aggressive. So it's funny. I got in a conversation with a dude about this yesterday. With a guy who was yelling at another guy who didn't really understand our mentality. He was like a
Mm.
younger guy who's more like calm and balanced, and he probably drinks like tea 3 times a day and shit. And he's talking to us older dudes who are just like, you know what
Right,
I mean?
right.
And it was cool to see to see that divide.
Yeah, I appreciate that divide. So okay, what if journey you've had and now you're a professor?
Yeah, I've been teaching for shit. I've been a professor for like 11, 12 years now. I
Wow.
got some time in. Yeah.
Wow. So does it feel full circle to like have gone through all of these life experiences, and obviously you're still going, but to be able to give that back to students and kids in the area?
I think my favorite part is not even really about me, but it's more or less about their curiosity.
Mm,
Because I'm still a curious person.
mhm,
Like I don't fucking know anything. Like I read every day, I study every day, I write every day, I try to learn every day. But to be in front of people and to be able to show them that it's okay. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to be healed. You don't have to be a millionaire. You don't have to have 750 gazillion followers. Like all of that shit is okay.
mhm,
Let's feel our way through this. Let's talk about it. Let's think about it. Let's write about it. Let's assess it. Let's talk about what's healthy, what's not healthy. Let's make fun of ourselves.
mhm.
Let's love ourselves. And I love that part. Like that's why I love teaching so much. Because you get a chance to sit down in front of a bunch of vulnerable people and you get to tell them that it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to not have it all figured out. Like stop, letting these people on the internet
Right.
lie to you.
Right.
It's okay to not know. It's okay. It's totally fine. That's what I love. That's what I love about it the most. I think my best professors made me feel like that. And I try to transfer that to the students that I'm fortunate enough to teach.
Oh, I love that. That's such a good way to end this conversation. I feel so grateful that you've been open and honest and vulnerable in this conversation with me. And it was truly an honor to talk to you and learn more about you. So thank you so much
Thank you.
for being here on Summertime.
Thank you so much.